Your phone is about to break a silence you thought would last forever. And when it does, you're going to realize that everything you've been interpreting as indifference was actually internal war. Someone has been fighting themselves, fighting the urge to reach out, fighting the pull towards you, fighting feelings that terrify them. Because feelings, this big, mean vulnerability, this deep, and they're losing that fight. The resistance is crumbling. The walls are coming down. The need to connect with you is becoming stronger than the fear of what connection means. And that reaching out, that surrender to what they actually feel, it's coming. Not someday, soon, very soon, in a text that breaks through at a random moment, in a call that comes when you're not expecting it, in contact that arrives exactly when you've almost given up hope of ever hearing from them again. Welcome back. It's Anna. And tonight we sit in the frequency of 1111, the number of alignment, of divine timing, of things that were meant to connect, finally connecting. We're reading the energy of someone who's been silent but is about to speak, someone who's been distant but is about to close that distance, someone who doesn't want you to give up because they're finally ready to give you a reason not to. Let me reveal what's alive in this moment before contact. In the mystical language of number sequences and divine signs, 1111 is not random. It appears when universes are aligning, when soul contracts are activating, when what was meant to be is finally becoming, when the invisible forces that guide connection are saying, pay attention, something significant is about to happen, and you've been seeing 1111, or you will see it right before they reach out, right before the message comes, right before the call breaks the silence. The universe is preparing you, telling you to stay alert, warning you that the waiting is almost over. It's possible you've already been noticing this number sequence appearing with unusual frequency on clocks, on receipts, in random places that make you pause. Each appearance is confirmation. Each sighting is the universe saying, hold on, what you've been hoping for is closer than you think. Some people dismiss these signs as coincidence. They see 1111 repeatedly and shrug it off as pattern recognition or confirmation bias. But in the deeper understanding of how energy communicates, repeated number sequences are messages. They're the universe using the language available to get your attention. You might need to start paying attention to when and where you see 1111, because the context of each appearance might hold clues about timing, about who, about what the contact will bring when it arrives. Let me speak into what sudden call or text actually means in this specific energy. This reflection invites you to consider, who have you been hoping to hear from that you've almost given up on? Sudden means unexpected, not after long buildup of small contacts, not gradual resumption of communication, but break in silence. One moment there's nothing, and the next moment your phone is lighting up with their name and your heart is stopping because you didn't think you'd see that name reach out again. In the specific shock of someone returning after silence is less than #0. 5# is greater than there's always disorientation. Your brain was accepting their absence. Your heart was learning to function without hope. Your life was reorganizing around them, not being in it. And then suddenly they're back. Suddenly they're reaching out. Suddenly you have to process what their contact means. It's possible you're about to experience exactly that disorientation. Someone you've been missing is going to reach out without warning, without preamble, without the slow warm up you might expect. Just sudden contact that demands your attention and your response and your decision about what their return means. Some people reach out tentatively with casual messages that test the waters. Hey, how have you been? Safe, non committal, giving themselves escape routes if the response isn't what they hoped. But others reach out with urgency, with emotion, with honesty that's been building during the silence and can't be contained anymore. I miss you. I can't stop thinking about you. I need to talk to you. Direct, vulnerable, revealing exactly why the silence is breaking. You might receive either type, the tentative test or the emotional confession, but both carry the same underlying message. They're thinking about you. They want connection. They don't want you to give up on the possibility of whatever exists between you. This reflection invites you to consider, how would you respond to sudden contact from someone who's been silent? Let me illuminate what they don't want you to give up means in their internal experience. Right now, in this present moment, someone is carrying awareness that you might be moving on, that the silence might have pushed you too far, that your patience might have limits and those limits might be approaching or already reached. And that awareness is creating panic in the specific fear of losing someone through your own inaction. People often experience delayed clarity. They didn't appreciate what they had. They didn't move when they should have moved. They let silence extend when they should have broken it. And now they're facing consequences they didn't fully consider when they were choosing distance. It's possible the person about to contact you is experiencing exactly that panicked clarity. They're realizing that their silence might have communicated disinterest when actually it was overwhelm, that their distance might have looked like rejection when actually it was self-protection, that their lack of contact might have made you think they don't care when actually they care so much it terrifies them. Some people run from intensity when feelings get too big, when connection gets too real, when vulnerability becomes necessary. They create space, not because they don't want the person, because they don't know how to handle wanting them that much. You might have been on the receiving end of exactly that kind of fear-based distance, and the person who created it is now recognizing that fear-based distance is costing them something they can't afford to lose. You, your interest, your availability, your willingness to keep the door open, and so they're preparing to reach out, to break their own silence, to communicate what they should have communicated sooner, to ask you essentially to not give up on them even though their behavior gave you every reason to. This reflection invites you to consider, would you be willing to hear someone's explanation for their silence? Let me speak to the you both will meet soon energy. Meeting soon doesn't necessarily mean physically, though it could. It means closing the distance, bridging the gap, moving from separated to connected, from distant to present, from silent to communicating. The meeting is about energetic coming together, whether that's through screens or voices or eventually bodies in same space. In the progression of reconnection, it often starts with text or call, that initial brave reach out that breaks ice, Then it builds. More messages, longer conversations, video calls maybe. And then, if the reconnection feels right, physical meeting. Being in same room, in same space, experiencing each other's presence directly after experiencing it only through technology. It's possible you're at the beginning of exactly that progression. The text or call that's coming is step one. It opens the door, it creates pathway, it establishes that yes, there's still something here. Yes. We both feel it. Yes. We want to explore what this could be. Some reconnections happen fast once they start. The first contact leads immediately to plans to meet, to urgency about closing physical distance, to both people recognizing they've wasted enough time being apart and they need to be together now. Others unfold more slowly. The contact comes, but then there's period of rebuilding trust, of demonstrating changed behavior, of proving through consistency that this time is different, that the silence won't repeat, that the pattern has actually shifted. You might experience either timeline, fast reunion, or slow rebuilding, but the meeting, the actual coming together, it's on the horizon. It's forming. It's becoming real possibility where before it felt like impossible dream. This reflection invites you to consider what would need to happen for you to meet someone who's been distant. Let me reveal what you need to understand about divine timing in all this. The contact isn't coming now randomly. It's coming now because now is when both of you are ready for it in ways you weren't before. They needed time to process their fear. You needed time to develop your boundaries. Both of you needed distance to recognize what you had together. In the sacred mathematics of separation and return, sometimes people need to lose access to each other to understand what that access was worth. They need silence to appreciate voice. They need absence to value presence. They need the pain of missing someone to overcome the fear of having someone. It's possible the time apart has served both of you, has done necessary work, has created conditions for healthier reconnection than would have been possible before the silence. The break wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Some people come back after silence exactly the same as they were when they left. They miss you, but they haven't changed. They want you, but they haven't addressed what made them need distance. And reconnecting with them just restarts old patterns. But others use the silence to grow, to do internal work, to address their fears or wounds or patterns, to become capable of what they weren't capable of before. And when they come back, they're different, ready differently, able to show up differently. You'll know which kind this is by watching what they do after the initial contact. Do they just want access without accountability, or do they acknowledge the silence, take responsibility for it, and demonstrate changed capacity? This reflection invites you to consider, what would genuine change look like in someone who went silent on you? Let me address what you need to protect in yourself during this. When someone who hurt you through silence reaches back out, there's temptation to immediately forgive, to be so grateful they're back that you don't require accountability, to accept them exactly as they are without boundaries because you miss them. It's possible you'll feel exactly that temptation when the contact comes. Part of you will want to act like the silence didn't hurt, like you weren't affected, like you're just happy they're back and nothing else matters. But that's not honoring yourself. That's abandoning yourself to make them comfortable. Some people need to hear that the silence was painful, need to understand what their distance cost you, need to demonstrate they're actually sorry through changed behavior, not just words. And you're allowed to require that, to not make their return easy, to have standards about how someone re-enters your life after leaving it, you might need to practice saying, I'm glad you reached out, but I need to understand why you went silent and what's different now. Not as punishment, as protection, as ensuring you're not just falling back into pattern that will hurt you again. This reflection invites you to consider, what boundaries do you need if someone returns after silence? Let me close by speaking to hope and discernment together. Hope is beautiful. Stay open to possibility. Stay available to reconnection if it's healthy. Stay willing to believe people can change and relationships can heal and silence can end in reunion. But let hope be informed by discernment, by watching what people do over time, by requiring consistency, by protecting yourself from pattern repetition disguised as reconciliation. May you receive the contact with open heart and clear eyes. May you trust both your hope and your boundaries. May you know you deserve someone who doesn't need silence to find their words. The contact is forming. The meeting is possible. The 1111 is confirming. Sudden call or text. Someone is gathering courage right now to break silence. 1111. Divine timing is at work. They don't want you to give up. They're afraid you already have, and they're preparing to show you why you shouldn't. You both will meet soon. The distance is closing. The separation is ending. The reconnection is becoming real. But remember this: their return doesn't erase what happened. Their contact doesn't obligate you. Their reaching out gives you choice, not commands. Trust this. Trust that you'll know how to respond when the contact comes. Trust your intuition about whether this is genuine change or temporary panic. Trust that you can want reconnection and still require accountability. The phone will light up. The silence will break. The 1111 will confirm timing. Stay ready. Stay boundaried. Stay discerning. You're about to discover if the silence taught them what it needed to teach.